Hey guys, this is my figure 8 puffer fish tank. I wanted to talk about him a little bit today simply because there's not a lot of information out there about puffer fishes. Typically when you go to the pet store, they are sold as freshwater fish, but they are actually not freshwater. They are as juveniles, they should be in a brackish water tank. Brackish water is simply fresh water with a little bit of salt in it. It has a specific gravity of about 1.004 is about where I keep mine at. Salt water levels are at 1.025. So it's not quite salt water, it's not fresh water, it's in between. Now, puffer fishes are great fish to keep. I love them to death. He's kind of like a little puppy dog in a way. He'll actually come up and greet me and beg for food. It's pretty funny. But, a few things about puffers. They have these teeth that will just grow and grow and grow and grow. They're kind of like a beaver's teeth. And they actually need something hard to eat to grind those teeth down. So he usually gets some snails. I have snails in almost all my tanks. I mean, over here and that tank over there has snails. So a couple times a week, that's what he gets. He gets snails. You can see he's hungry. That's why he's up here. And besides that, I feed him frozen. He likes bloodworms. He won't eat any kind of flake or dried food or anything like that. So, that's usually what he eats. Besides that, there are some species of puffers that are freshwater. There are. You have to do your research on them. But, the one that I see sold most often as a freshwater puffer is the green spotted puffer, and he is not a freshwater fish. Now, as a juvenile, you can get away with, people say you can get away with keeping them in freshwater. I've never had success keeping them in freshwater. I've always had to have them in brackish water in order to keep them alive. For some reason, I cannot keep them alive in fresh water. So I've had this guy for probably 8-9 months now and have had no issues with him. I brought him home. I acclimated him to brackish water, and he has been fine ever since. No issues at all. So that's just a little bit of information about puffer fishes. Now, as he gets to an adult, which is, a couple years from now, he will actually have to be in full salt water. But that's not anything that I need to worry about anytime soon. But they're not big fish. I think he's only going to get 3 or 4 inches at most. So they're pretty neat. They can be aggressive. For some reason, this figure 8 and some of the other figure 8s I've seen are a little bit more they're a little bit more docile than like the green spotted puffers are. The green spotted puffers will definitely nip other fish's fins. So you gotta be careful about, what kind of fish you're putting in there with them. But besides that, these are mollies in there with them. Mollies are actually brackish water fish too. They're freshwater and brackish water. So they can be in there with them. There's a couple other species that can be brackish water fish. I don't have anything besides the mollies and the puffer in here right now. But in the future, I definitely plan on getting something. I really want to add another puffer, which is not recommended. You can have more than one puffer in a tank. but they recommend that you add them together and you add them as juveniles. Now this one is still a juvenile. I've had him in here, like I said, I've only had him for about 8 months. But the problem is he's established this whole tank as his territory. So when I add another one, there might be some issues. But there's a couple tips and tricks that I know of that I'll have to share with you guys when that time comes. Hopefully it'll be fairly soon, because I like them. They're one of my favorite fish. They definitely have a lot more personality than like these, these mollies just swim back and forth. But as you can see, the puffer fish, wherever he went to, he was just in that cave there. He is very curious, and he will come out, and they're very smart for fish. Whenever I get home, he comes up to the glass and he greets me, and he wants me to feed him, and so they're very neat fish. But definitely do your research on them. Know what kind you want. If it has to have brackish water, and if it does, brackish water is not hard, guys. It's really not. Very simple. All I do is I do my weekly water change, which I haven't done this week. As you can see, the water level's low. I plan on doing that tomorrow. I do my weekly. I actually change 50% of the water in this tank. There's a 40-gallon breeder. I change 50% of the water every week, and I buy I believe it's the 20-pound bag of sand, and that bag of sand lasts me about 2 months. So when I mix up the salt water to put the new water back in here, it's about 10 1/4 cups, about 10 scoops. I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup. It takes about 10-11 scoops to get it to brackish water levels. And then I put it in here, and that's it. And no special filtration. I have a canister filter on it. There's nothing special in there, and simple, easy. The plants don't like the brackish water as much. As you can tell, there's some yellowing and stuff on there. I have had some success with different kinds of species, like the water sprite grows. There's a couple other plants in there that are definitely growing. They grow really slow in the brackish water. There's some plants, when I put them in there, they'll be green for 4 or 5 weeks, and then they start to yellow and die back, and then they grow back. So it's a slower process in the brackish water. I know not all plants are brackish, but I've never completely killed a plant in brackish water. They've always came back eventually. So I think it's pretty neat. It's a good introduction if you want to get into saltwater. It's very use all the same, mostly the same things you would use in a saltwater tank. You don't need the protein skimmers and all that fancy stuff, but as far as if you're worried about the salt and mixing it and all that, it's very good practice, and it's very, very simple to do. It's not a hard thing to do at all. So I hope you guys got a little bit of information out of this one. Tomorrow I'm doing my water changes. Maybe I'll shoot a little bit about how I do my water changes. I used to do it the old way with buckets, but definitely found that takes a while with a lot of tanks. So I'll probably shoot a little video, show you how I do it. I do it quick, easy. I do all my tanks. Takes about an hour to do all of them. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.